Hello, everyone. It's time for Van Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. I'm your host, Pete Costanis. This is episode 431, season 18. Today's date is May 6, 2025, and welcome to the show. On today's program, I'm going to talk about a legendary Chicago entertainer. His name was Tutan Baker. I've talked about him on a previous podcast episode in the first year, like back in 2021. The reason I'm doing it again is because he died about 50 years ago this week. And so I'll revisit him. I'll talk about his biography, his musical career, his acting career, and my memories of him. Also, I'll read off a menu from a 1966 menu, excuse me, from a Mexican restaurant called La Margarita, also called Cafe La Margarita, that was located in the Gold Coast neighborhood of Chicago, and it had some other locations as well. So I will do that, and I looked at the menu, and all the items look so delicious. And I know Cinco de Mayo was yesterday, so I'm going to do it. So I'm going to read the menu today. I apologize for that. Right now, the program will go into a commercial break, and this program is brought to you by the Hangman Game, from Milton Bradley. And this commercial is from 1976. And it features a very familiar movie actor. You will recognize him immediately as soon as he starts speaking. So that game was a lot of fun. So just sit back and relax, and let's travel back to 1976 for the commercial for the Hangman Game from Milton Bradley. Thank you, everyone.
Here at the bank, we've discovered a fascinating pastime. Hangman. Each player puts a word here. Wrong window. Then they try to guess each other's words. L?
Nope. G?
No. Endorse it. Q?
R.
Right. A?
Nope. L?
No. N. Wrong bank. If you have a little time to kill, guess.
Hangman! I won!
I can't play with these interruptions. Hangman from Milton Bradley.
Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the commercial for Hangman. That was a game for Milton Bradley. The commercial is from 1976. If you guessed it right, that is actor Vincent Price. And he made great movies, scary movies. But I liked him in Egghead and Batman. He was great in that. Yeah, he was a very versatile fellow. You know, a lot of horror movies, a lot of drama, comedy, and he was a cook and an artist. He had an art collection. I think he had his art collection at Sears at one time, I think in the 60s or 70s. I think the 60s. So, yeah, his movies live on, on Svengoolie, DVDs, TCM, streaming. Just search Vincent Price or go on YouTube. Just watch him. He was amazing. Great man. Okay. At the beginning of the program, I mentioned I'm going to talk about the Chicago entertainer Tutan Baker. I'll talk about his biography and his musical and acting career. And also I'll read off a 1966 menu from Cafe La Margarita Mexican Restaurant that was located on the Gold Coast of Chicago. Before I get started, a couple things. My health is okay. I'm not going to any doctor until the 19th. So I got a break. Thank God for that. I'm feeling okay. Still tired, but so far so good. I hope this works. I hope this new chemo works. I'm praying. So also, I get advice from people, medical advice that is. They're not doctors. He says, go on Google this, search this doctor, do this, do that, dump the doctors, do all this crap. Look, I'm going to say this one more time. I am going to listen to my doctors. I'm in good hands. I know what I'm doing. I'm not going to, sometimes good friends give you bad advice. You have to, you respect them, but you got to tell them to back off. Don't listen to nonsense like that. Anything political, anything crazy like that. You listen to your doctor. I think these people don't even go to one because they don't trust them, It's just silly, it's like that. So most of the time I ignore it, even from strangers. I don't talk to them. I don't want to do that. Second thing is, yesterday I posted a post. It was McDonald's from the 1970s, and they showed the packaging. It used to come in boxes and wrapped with the McDonald's logo. Those were cool. It was like that. When I was a kid, I saw those, and they were colorful and like that. And then they had a drive-through, and everything's so cheap back then. Oh, I know, And then you get complaints from people. Oh, this stuff is bad and all that. That is true. Fast food is not healthy. But if you do in moderation, like once in a blue moon, it's okay. You'll be all right. If you go every day, that's, no, don't do that. I used to do that. That's not good. So people need to calm down. The Vanish Chicagoland is for nostalgia. This is not a political forum. It's not a health forum. This is a nostalgic forum. So you have to enjoy yourself. So I just post things that take it back to my childhood or everyone else's childhood. That's what it's intended. People need to calm down. That's all. One last thing. I complained this on my post on Van Chicago, and there was some woman. She sends over to report that they're legitimate posts, and when there is a post that's offensive or someone says a comment that's out of line or it's racial or anything like that or controversial, I'll delete it. But this woman in my group sends no matter what, and it's getting annoying for the past few days. So I just type in her name, and so I had a little help from my members, and they located her, and I deleted her, I banned her, she's gone like that. It could be a clone of a profile, a bot or something like that, but she's gone now. So that's good. Who knows, there'll be more. Who knows? I don't know. Okay, so that's enough venting for this morning. I don't like to vent. It's not healthy. Think positive. Focus on positivity. Do something that makes you happy, you'll be happy. Oh, and one more thing. Some people complained about my account. I've got a couple of texts and emails from sometimes people I don't know, and I tell them, look, just calm down. Don't do that. I talked to a friend of mine who works at a TV station, and he's got the same problem. And I asked, no, I did not ask him. I was going to ask him, how do you deal with that? But he's a public figure, so he just ignores it. I should do the same. Okay. That's enough of that. Okay, now we're going to have some fun. We're going to talk about Two-Town Baker. He was larger than life, so to speak. And his real name was Richard Evans. He was born May 2nd, 1916 in Chicago. From what I heard, I think he grew up in the Roseland neighborhood where I used to live. But I don't know exactly where. Someone told me maybe 106 around what is now Martin Luther King Jr. Drive. It used to be South Park, around that area. I could be wrong, but he lived in that area for a long time. So he began playing piano when he was about 2.5 years old. And then by the age of 4, he was playing piano for his mom, And let's see. So he went to Fenger High School. That was in Roseland. Also Morton High School. That's in Cicero. I don't know how that happened. And, he wasn't a very good student because he cut classes and he was looking for musical opportunities. And then he joined a 12-piece band and he played the piano and he was a singer. He was not a bad singer. And he played nightclubs right in the 1930s. And in 1939, he became a disc jockey at a radio station WJJD. That was, I think, a jazz. I think it was a jazz radio station. And the show was called Sunday Morning Party. And he was performing at a club called the 1111 Club. I don't know where that was located. And he was there for, where did he get the nickname Two-Ton? There was some employee, a friend of his who worked at the radio station. He called him that. I don't know if he was offended. Maybe not. I guess he accepted. So he quit the disc jockey job in 1943, and then he concentrated full time on his nightclub work. But he got his own radio show on WGN Radio, and it was called One Man Show, and that started in 1944. And he stayed there for many, many years, And then he had concerts and all that, and he did charity work, for hospitals like that. And then he began recording records in 1946. And he had a song called Near You, and I'm a lovely little petunia in an onion patch. I like that. So that was fun. When WGN started television on April 5th, 1948, the next day, Two-Ton Baker had his own TV show, and it was called Wonder House, and it had featured puppets. And it aired 5 days a week in the evening at 7:30. And there was like a marionette, like a puppet. His name was Half Ton. So he was, that show was very popular. I don't know if there's a clip. I wish there was. So, and then, it was very popular, but it only lasted about 5 months. So that was the end of that. Anyway, then in 1952, he hosted a TV show called The Happy Pirates. I think a lot of people remember that from the old days. And he had a sidekick, Squawky the Parrot, and they showed old cartoons, from the theater. I don't know if they showed Bugs Bunny. Probably not. And from 1957 to 1962, he was the spokesperson for Riverview Amusement Park that was located at Belmont and Western. There are pictures of him, maybe one or two. There's one that he's at the Hot Rods track. I don't know how he fit in those cars. He's a big guy. And he did TV commercials, and, the slogan for Riverview was "Laugh Your Troubles Away at Riverview." And those commercials lasted until the park closed in 1967. Then he did some movies. He starred, there was a movie called Mickey 1 that starred Warren Beatty. I think that came out in 63, 64, something like that. It was the only movie role. So if I'm trying to find the movie, I'll go search them and find them. I will do that. And then he moved over to Channel 26, and it was a TV show called Corral 26, and it showed Western movies. And he did the introductions. He interviewed guests. He sang. And then they had a sponsor for Bosco chocolate syrup. He was promoting it. I don't know if he should. I don't think he should have drank that. Well, that was back then. But the show lasted about 2 years. And then he got out of television. Then he went for nightclubs. And he was a mainstay at the Ivanhoe Theater that was on Clark Street. I think Clark Street. Yeah. From 1965 to 1970. And then the last place where he worked was at Mangum's Chateau. That was in Lyons, Illinois. And he played for 5 nights a week, and then he just stopped. Well, I don't know if he stopped or not, but that was the last one. So, yeah, I think he was still working before he passed away. So he passed away on May 4th, 1975. He lived in Hazelcrest, on the south suburbs. What I did once, I found his obituary in the Chicago Tribune, and I found his address. And I looked on Google Maps, and I found this house, and a nice looking house, like that. So he must have lived there many years, like that. And I know he was married, and he had 2 children, I think, 2 or 3 children. I'm not sure. So that was that for Teuton Baker. Let's see what else I want to talk about him. Here we go. There's some press clips, So he was a very, it's like, okay. Let's see what we got. Okay. Yeah, so he had 2 children. Yeah, it was Richard Jr. because it was his real name. So, and let's see what records he had. A lot of recordings. A lot of recordings, indeed. There were a lot of them like that. Started from the 40s all the way to the late 60s, like that. Okay. Right now, I'm going to play a interview he had with Chuck Shaden. He hosted Those Were the Days. He's retired now. That airs on WDCB. Yeah, I think that's it. I get the call letters, but it's... and that's they host Those Were the Days every Saturday afternoon from 1 to 5. And he was in Chuck Shaden was interviewed. And then this radio clip mentions Riverview. And it has Laugh Your Troubles Away. So it's very short, but you can hear his voice. And it's very nice. So just sit back and listen to the clip. When I return, I will talk about La Margarita Mexican Restaurant. Okay? So I'll be right back, folks. Thank you.
Say, Dick Teuton Baker, yeah, the Riverview commercial.
Oh, yes, come out the Riverview. It's very good for you. That's the song I made up. Everybody says, even now, they'll say, sing the Riverview song. There never was actually a Riverview song. It was mostly a mess of screams and yells and hollers and go to Riverview and laugh your troubles away and then scream and wave my arms. So I wrote this little ditty, and when they ask for the Riverview song, that's what I sing. Come out to Riverview. It's very good for you to laugh your troubles away. Like that.
You have a constant, infectious humor about you. Are you always really as happy as you sound?
Well, within myself I am, I believe. I think that I'm a very lucky guy. I've been fortunate. All this so-called talent I have is strictly God-given. I never studied a minute for it. I woke up one day playing the piano, and I wasn't quite 3 years old. I was sitting in the living room. I had just a very vague recollection of me sitting at the piano and my granddad coming in, and I was playing Yankee Doodle. He thought my mother was playing because she did play.
Okay, everyone, I'm back. I hope you enjoyed the clip from Teuton Baker. Yeah, Riverview. A lot of people still miss it. That is one of the most popular topics on Van Chicagoland. Still talk to this day. Every time, I love posting about that. I don't want to do it all the time. Of course, I get a couple complaints from people, mostly young people. They go, "Why are you posting this every day?" Or like every day, be quiet. Let me do what I want. You don't like it? Scroll down. That's my motto. Okay. All right, now I'm gonna read off a menu. This is from 1966. It's from La Margarita Mexican Restaurant. That was located at 868 North Wabash Avenue in Chicago. It was there for many years. Let's see what we have here. It was owned by a man. His name was Cesar Davalina. He was from Mexico. He was not only a restaurant owner, but he was a nightclub owner and a boxing promoter. And he also owned the Spanish language newspaper La Raza. I think that's how you pronounce it. And he opened the restaurant in 1962. And they had 5 other locations. There was one in Morton Grove, Bolingbrook, Schaumburg, and I think there was one in the Logan Square neighborhood, maybe. But I know there was one in Morton Grove and Bolingbrook and Schaumburg. Okay. So, he owned it for many years, and he was also part of a group that founded the Azteca corn products. They made tortillas, and that was sold in 1983 to the Pillsbury Company. So, and he was very charitable. He had a lot of like that. But then in 1984, he evaded paying state sales taxes, like most restaurants do. And he pleaded guilty, and then he was sentenced to 4 years probation. So, yeah. And he continued to work at the restaurants like that. But I don't know, his family took over, probably doing that, I would think. And then let's see. So he died on July 11th, 2001. The restaurants are gone. I don't know if his family have opened other types of restaurants and by other names, but La Margarita is gone. So that's that. Okay. Now, I'm going to read a menu off from 1966. So here we go. This first part of the menu is just cocktails like sangria or stuff like that. And let's see. So we have appetizers. They had guacamole. We know that. Mexican pizza. Mini tacos. They have little tacos like that. Let's see, quesadillas, which I like. They're tortillas stuffed with melted cheese. Cocktail del aguacate, that's like chopped avocado with tomatoes and onions. Okay. Let's see what else. They had shrimp stuffed with avocado, chef's dressing. You get the idea. Like gazpacho, that is Spanish tomato soup, served cold, like that. And they also have tamales, served with ranchero sauce. Okay. Now salads, they had, and mostly they serve with avocado with lettuce and tomato. And there's ensalada de pollo, that's chicken in Spanish. We do that. It's like a chef salad, like that. Ensalada marinara, that's like shrimp salad. Tropical salad, it's called ensalada de frutas. It's cottage cheese, mango, papaya, guava shells, topped with liquor sauce. And also fruit cocktail with cottage cheese. So that's a diet one, like that. Okay, next, let's see what else. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. No. Okay, now we go to the entrees. I'm not going to read every one because there's too many. So let me see. Their special was pollo and mole. And it's a half a chicken simmered in mole sauce. Your side dishes include salad with beans, rice, or tortillas. Another one was gordonis al norteña. It's a Cornish hen marinated in wine and spices, served with Mexican fried potatoes. Oh, that sounds good. Okay, but there's a lot of chicken ones, but let me see which one that's familiar to me and you, and one is arroz con pollo. That's chicken sauteed in tomato sauce and rice. Desi Arnaz used to say that in Night on Lucy. But he's Cuban, but they almost have the same cuisine, like that. They had huevos con chorizo, that's Mexican sausage with scrambled eggs. And also huevos rancheros. That's a very famous recipe. It's 2 fresh eggs fried, simmered in Mexican sauce. You can have it mild or you can have it hot. It's also side dishes were beans, rice, and tortillas. Let's see what else. They had tortillas, so that was mostly a breakfast item. Okay. Seafood, they had paella. That's a Spanish rice casserole with shrimp, lobster, chicken, clams, vegetables. A lot of people like that. Okay, let's see what else. They had mostly lobster in Jibas rellenas. That's like stuffed Alaskan king crab with cream sauce topped with cheese. Okay, so they had wonderful, wonderful recipes. So I'm not going to read every one. Now we get to the desserts. This is my favorite. They had flan. Flan is like a custard. It's Mexican rum custard. Flan is good. I've had it. It's delicious. It's really shaky. Platanos con crema, fried plantain, banana served with sour cream. Cascos de guayaba con queso. That's guava shells with cream cheese. Galleta de membrillo. That's quince paste. For the quince, it's a fruit. Cream cheese. They had tropical fruits a la Mexicana. So you have maybe you get like a fruit plate. And you got all kinds of fruit, like pineapple, guava, mango, stuff like that. Nieve is sherbet or ice cream. I think that's Spanish for ice cream. For sherbet, they had lime, orange, or pineapple, if you like. Ice cream, they had vanilla, chocolate, or butter pecan ice cream. I don't know if they had fried ice cream. Maybe they came later. Probably. Pastelas are pies or cakes, and pasteria francesca, that's French pastries. And according to the menu, if you can ask the waiter for a dessert card, and he'll bring it to you, and you can decide what dessert you would like. Beverages, they had chocolate Mexicano, that's Mexican chocolate. Maybe that's like hot chocolate, could be. Or cold. Coffee, they had cafe. Leche, that's milk. Tea, or iced tea. You want it hot or cold. Refrescos, that's soft drinks or ice cold. Like you want a Coke or 7-Up. Juices, they call jugos. I can't pronounce like that. Either they had pineapple, orange, or tomato. Wow. That sounded like fun. You really did. Okay. So that was exhausting. Seems like I did this podcast a long time, but I had fun. I really did. And I apologize again for the venting. So, going through a rough time. Yes, I'd say. So that's it for the menu, the 1966 menu from La Margarita Restaurant, Mexican restaurant, that is. Okay, so that's it for our show. I'll do a recap of what I've talked about. I talked about the legendary Chicago entertainer who was full of life, Two-Time Baker. Also, I read off a 1966 menu from the Mexican restaurant La Margarita. Sometimes it was called Cafe La Margarita. This podcast will be published later on today, wherever podcasts are found: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Breaker, Overcast. Also, it'll be published on my blog, www.vanishchicagoland.blog. You can, if you can sign up, if you put your email there, you can subscribe. You receive a notification for the latest episode. Also, be on my YouTube channel. And again, people ask me, where do I find your podcast? Where do I find your podcast? You can find it on YouTube. Type in the search, Vanish Chicagoland Stories, or my name, Pete Costanis. Click the subscribe button. You'll receive a notification for the latest episode. You would also listen to previous episodes. They're all listed there, all 430, including this one. Also, be sure to have my social media accounts: Facebook, X, LinkedIn, Reddit, Threads, Blue Sky, Instagram, and TikTok. The links will be there. You can copy them. They'll take you right there. Also, you can stream the podcast on your television, or you can listen to CarPlay in your car. Okay. Or listen to any of the devices you have. iPad, iPhone, your desktop, anything. Any devices. Okay. So this is Pico Stash, your host for Vanishing Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. Thank you for joining me. Today is a beautiful day. It's going to be 74. I wish I could go for a walk, but I'm too tired. Maybe I'll go for a little bit. We'll see. Get some fresh air. I will probably do another podcast Saturday. Not Sunday. It's Mother's Day. Maybe I'll do a Mother's Day podcast. Well, we'll see about that. Okay. So, yeah, that's a great idea. We'll probably do that. All right. So here's bye-bye from me. And here's a little traveling music from our wonderful Chicago legend, Ray Rayner, saying bye-bye with a little traveling music. Take care, everyone, and have a good day. Thank you. Bye-bye.
We have to go. Bye, bye, bye.